Hi, my name is Charlie Calelo. I've been Lorrie Morgan's musical director for several years, and we've been invited into her home today to do an interview. So while we're waiting, she's given us the opportunity to walk around her house. Come on, follow me. Here are some pieces from Lorrie's collection. As you can see, the photograph right above the armoire is Lorrie in the center, and George Jones on one side and Merle Haggard on the other. And here's her award for the duet that she sang with Frank Sinatra, along with Watch Me, Something in Red, and some of her gold and platinum records, and a portrait of her father, George Morgan. In the same room, Lorrie is very proud to display Sammy's numerous record awards. And here's something Lorrie's really proud of, her Grand Ole Opry Award. This guitar she cherishes. It's made from one of the pews from the Ryman Auditorium, which was the original home of the Grand Ole Opry. Another guitar she displays was a special gift given to her by her fan club. In this picture, we see Lorrie at the White House. She was there in 1998, and Bill Clinton had the opportunity to meet Lorrie Morgan. As you can see, Lorrie really has a lovely home. She not only has several antiques, but she also has collected numerous awards, memorabilia, and many memories over the years. Those memories are shown in the pictures on her wall. They also demonstrate her love of country music, along with her history and her years of accomplishments that have brought her much happiness. This painting of Lorrie and her father in front of the Ryman Auditorium ties together two generations of country music. Lorrie believes it's an honor to carry on the legacy set forth by her father. Lorrie, I'm looking forward to giving your fans an inside glimpse of your life and music. Are you ready?
All right.
When was the first time you performed professionally?
First time I got paid for performing, I was 14 years old. The Grand Ole Opry, actually it was at the Ryman Auditorium, downtown Nashville. And I was extremely nervous about doing the performance, but I knew that if I didn't take that opportunity, I might not have it again. But I was 14 years old. As a matter of fact, my mom still has the check stub from my first paycheck.
All right, come on, tell us. How much was it?
I think it was $40.
$40.
I wish I had it now.
How was it like growing up with a successful father? Did that have any influence on you?
It definitely had influence on me, but I think, you know, a lot of people come into Nashville and they're coming from the outside of the business looking in. And I was very fortunate that I was able to grow up on the inside of the business and learn a lot about the different ins and outs of the music business. And, you know, Dad had so many friends in the business that every weekend, I mean, different stars from the Opry was at our house, and it was just, it was a wonder world for somebody who was so interested in music. And, you know, Dad was just like everybody's friend, and everybody enjoyed coming to our house. So music also represented not just music, but it represented friendship.
Now, do you think having your father in the music business and a successful singer, did that make life easier for you?
Well, actually, it did in some ways, but it didn't in others, because I've always referred to myself before pre-record deal. I was kind of like wallpaper in Nashville because I've always been here. And, oh, that's just George's daughter, and yeah, she's been around since dirt, and, you know. And then these fresh faces would come to town, and they would be the ones to get the recognition. And unfortunately, me being around all the time, I was like old hat. But because of Dad's reputation and his kindness, in the business as I got older, people were willing to give me a shot because of his kindness.
And on the show that we just did, The Color of Roses, you sang a lot of songs that were recorded by some other people. For example, you sang a Carole King song, and also you had a hit record with the song that George Jones recorded. What other artists really influenced you?
I have so many artists that I listen to, and having older sisters and an older brother, and I say this a lot on my shows, it wasn't always my decision what kind of music we listened to growing up, so consequently I was able to grow up loving all kinds of music. I think one of my biggest influences was Karen Carpenter. I loved Karen Carpenter's singing, but I also loved Johnny Mathis since I was a little girl, and Carole King, and Dionne Warwick, and Diana Ross, and Tammy Wynette, and so I had a lot of influences.
While we were waiting for you this morning, I took a look up at the wall, and I noticed that one of the awards on your wall says, hold on, was that an award or was that that was a certificate? It uses your name, Loretta Lynn Morgan.
That's my marriage license.
That
that is my legal name.
Yeah.
And actually, people kind of have a misconception of that. I was born in '59, and my father and my mom named me Loretta Lynn. Well, they didn't hear of Loretta Lynn, the Loretta Lynn star, until '60 or '61, when she came to Nashville. So it was really a coincidence. But ever since I was a baby, they called me Lorrie.
Yeah.
So I never went, unless Mom was mad at me. Then I'm Loretta, But Loretta calls me her namesake.
Yeah.
But although that's a little false, it's a great compliment, but it's strictly by accident.
In your show, you do the song Harbor Valley PTA. It's really a great record. Why did you choose that song?
Well, Harper Valley PTA is a song I wish had never been heard until now. And I'm always trying to, freshen up the show during the year because we get bored with doing the same show night after night after night. So, I don't know, a month or so ago, I heard Harper Valley on the radio, and I said, boy, I wish nobody had ever heard of that song, and I could have written it. Of course, I would change a lot of names in the song.
I'm sure.
And change the location of where the song takes place. But it just reminds me of how people can so easily criticize you when they need to look in their own closets or their own mirror. And lately, with the media attention that I've been getting, criticism and whatever it may be, sometimes I wish I could just sing Harper Valley PTA to these media people, and let the cat out of the bag what they do behind closed doors.
What's it like to live the life of being exposed, where every time you do something, people have the option to just talk about it however they want, like reading about you in the Inquirer or some of the magazines? What does it do to you personally?
It used to didn't bother me when I was younger. And then the older I've gotten, the more mad it makes me. Because people have taken this freedom of speech and freedom of press way too far. I think there's etiquette in life. And my dad always told me, if you can't say something good about somebody, don't say anything at all. Unless, of course, they have offended you personally. And why people think that they can take my life or your life or any other celebrity's life and speculate about how we are and what we do is beyond my comprehension. And it really makes me mad. And it really has made me madder the longer it has gone on. It makes me feel awful, and especially when you have children involved, and their friends read these books or they read these rag mags, and they, you know, bother your children about it. To me, it's totally unfair. It's totally uncalled for, and it's like they can't make a living without really cutting other people down. That, to me, is not journalism.
Your love life has been documented in the tabloids from time to time, and sometimes fairly and sometimes unfairly. You've always been the arm piece of a strong man like Sammy, and I think a lot of your fans would like to know, what do you really look for in a guy?
I think that the main thing I look for in a guy is that they have enough confidence in themselves to let me be me. And that is saying a lot, because I am a lot of different people. I'm not just an entertainer, but I'm a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm an aunt, I'm a mom, and I have many sides of me. And it's important, like Sammy has enough confidence in himself that he knows when I'm being me, I still am in love with him. And that means a lot to me. A lot of men can't handle a woman with a lot of strength and a lot of friends and a lot of things on their plate that they have to take care of. And that, to me, is important in a man.
What do you think men really look for in a woman?
Ha!
You know, I mean, besides, come on, besides the obvious.
Oh, okay, besides the obvious. You know, the older I've gotten, I've changed my mind a lot on what I really think men look for in a woman. And I think older men, more mature, brighter and more intelligent men, look for friendship, companionship, somebody that understands them. And, you know, it's like my dad used to say, beauty's only skin deep. And I really believe that. You know, after a while, beauty fades, and you have to go with what's underneath the beauty. And my dad always used to end that statement by, well, let's skin them and find out, you know. But I don't think that's a good idea right now. But I think it's more of friendship and companion and somebody that can make you laugh.
If you were to make a recommendation to some of your fans as to how to become a better friend to their man, what would you tell them to do? What are some of the things that could develop that kind of relationship?
Being the expert that I am on this subject, what has worked for me and Sammy is talking. I think a lot of men think that you think they're silly or not silly, but maybe soft if they talk about their real feelings. And I think that it's important that a man knows that he can talk to you about, and men have fears, just like women. Men have insecurities, just like women. And I think it's important that you let them know that you want to know their weaknesses, because it only makes you feel stronger as a team. And I think laughing is important. I think laughing is one of the most important things that two people can share. And I also think it's important that a man feels like he can cry in front of you.
That's great advice. What advice would you have to give to a man for him to basically treat his woman the way that a woman should be treated?
How much time do we have?
Well, you have to answer it in 15 words or less.
Oh, real? Huh. Don't bother her then.
What do you think the most important thing is?
that's such a wide variety of things. I think it's very important for a woman to be able to be all the things that her daddy told her she should be. And that's everything from being a little girl to a woman to a princess to a partner. I think it's very important that men include women in their lives, in their hobbies, as much as it is for a woman to introduce her hobbies, her likes to men. But I also think it's very important that women have time for themselves, because women need to primp. We are primpers. And when we feel good about ourselves and how we look, and that our nails are done, our toenails are done, and, you know, we've plucked our eyebrows, and we got to color our hair, then we feel prettier for our man. And that woman time is important. And I just think that every woman needs that space in her bedroom, in her bathroom, to get her candlelit baths and her, not to say that every now and then you both can enjoy the candlelit bath, but it's important for men to give women that space. And I think it's important for men to have that space, because I think guys need to do the guy thing and women need to be able to do the girl thing. But I'm just a believer that if you let somebody be themselves, be all they can be, to a friend to someone, enjoy their own silliness, they will be a better partner for you. And I think it's important that both men and women know that. And I don't think you really realize that until you get a little older, you know, about how important things like that are.
Well, that's great advice for any man. Thank you, Lorrie.
You're welcome. Anytime, I'm here for calls and questions, and online 24 hours a day for anything you guys might need to ask.
And Dr. Lorrie
Dr. Lorrie.
will charge very little.
Oh, I'll charge a lot.
On a more glamorous kind of subject, tell us about the road, how much you really love the road.
Oh. The road. Well, the road has its awesome moments, but the road is something that pulls me in many different directions, because I'm such a homebody. I've never been a big partier or, you know, wanting to be gone from home. I mean, I love my home. I love what it represents, my children, my mom, getting together with family and playing cards. We love to play cards. And when I'm out on the road, it's the loneliest place I know. And years ago, a friend of mine, when I first got in the business, as far as traveling goes, and had my own bus, and I had my big record, and I was just gone all the time, it really started affecting me, the road did, because most entertainers will tell you that there is such this high when you're on stage. And then when you know, you're hearing all this applause and this, you're pumped up and your adrenaline's gone. And then as soon as that curtain goes down, it's like there's no easy going down. It's from an immediate high to this immediate low. And that's where that lonely sets in, where you get scared and you're like, you know, they rush you to the bus and they close the door and you're sitting there by yourself after all this big adrenaline rush, so they can all go tear down and go to the next town. Well, you're sitting there thinking, okay, now what do I do? Well, a friend of mine years ago told me that it's very important to have a friend with you on the road. So during that time, there's reality that you're not alone, and you can still laugh, and you're not hitting that immediate low. And from that moment on, I started traveling with friends and having friends go with me on the road. But I hate being away from my children. I hate being away from Sammy, being away from my mom. The fans are the perk. When they come and meet and greet, and they've got their gifts and their smiles, and they tell you how much your concert tonight is lifting their lives. They've either gone through a tragedy or, you know, and you feel like that's the good part of it. But it's not all it's cracked up to be, for sure.
Well, I had the opportunity to go on a road with you and spend 20 days on tour.
Yes, you did.
And I thought it was a lot of fun. One of the things I remembered about the trip was that we would leave a town, and all of a sudden we'd get a call and say, "Well, Lorrie wants to stop and have some grits." And we'd stop the buses.
Yeah.
We'd get off the buses and we'd go into a Wendy's, and the entire crew would walk in, and you'd step off the bus with your jeans on and a T-shirt and walk into Wendy's and sit down with the guys and hang out. Now, what's that like to just have that kind of camaraderie on the road with a bunch of people? What does that feel like?
My guys, my crew, my band, drivers, they are my best friends. They're all I've known in this business. And I love to, stop the bus at 2 in the morning and get off and buy everybody breakfast at a Denny's, or, just because it makes everybody feel like they're not just out there playing music behind you. They're playing music behind you because you want them there. And they're just great people, and I have fun with them. They are my best friends. And, it's hard to have anybody other than your band and crew be your best friends, because they're the ones you're with all the time. And yeah, these guys are, they're married, they have their children. I've watched some of their kids grow up. Now they're in college. I remember when they were babies, and it's like my family out there. But you got to break up the monotony. You got to say, okay, I've been on this bus too long. I know if I've been on too long, they've been on too long. Let's get off and do something. So sometimes we go crazy in truck stops and go buy stuff we don't even like, just to have something to talk about on the bus.
And now, in traveling around the country, I know that it's not all glamorous, but do you ever get to the point where, while you're on tour and you're traveling around, that you just want to just walk away from this? Just, get up and leave it and just go home?
Can we talk here? I mean, yes. Yes. Again, the older I've gotten, the more I feel those things, because, there's nothing that's more important in life than your family, your children, your friends. And I get out there on the road, and sometimes you feel like, especially in the business and the way the business is now, you just kind of feel like you're spinning your wheels. And again, I have to go back to it's so lonely. And after you've done it for 20-some years, and you come home and you unpack and you repack and you pack and you repack, you're like, this is all I've done all my life. Yes, I do want to throw the towel in a lot. But then you hit the stage and you see the fans that are excited to see you, and you go, okay, 1 down, 12 more to go. So there's something that keeps you going, and that's the love of the music and fans. It's not the road, it's not the travel. And there's other things people don't understand. They're like, a lot of times I get, not a lot of times, but every now and then I'll get a letter from a fan that says, well, you didn't act like you were in a very good mood in the meet and greet line.
I know that.
There's a lot of things that happen during the day, We have a lot of bus problems out there on the road. It's not just Lorrie pulling up and I'm made up for the show and I've got people doing my nails and this, that, and the other. There's a lot of things. Plus, I deal with what goes on here at home, I have to deal with out on the road. So, yeah, there's a lot of days that I'm not quite myself in a meet and greet line, but it's just the same as everybody else's life.
You mentioned, and as you were answering the question, you mentioned your music. And I know that your fans would really like to know a lot about your own personal taste in music. Now, I've worked with you for several years. I've done several projects with you, and I know that you're quite diversified as a singer. With all the things that we've done together, what kind of lyrics and what kind of music do you actually enjoy doing the most? What inspires you?
Ballads. I can answer that with one word. I love ballads. Ballads inspire me. Things that inspire me are things that most women feel and need. And there's an element of fantasy, there's an element of hurt, loss. I love singing sad songs because not only are they an inspiration, but they are a therapy for me. And people pay thousands of dollars for therapy. And one song and its lyric and its music content can release so much frustration in me. And I know from listening to other artists that I love, when I hear their songs, it does the same thing for me that I hope my music does for other people. If you looked in my CD player right now, and this is the honest to God truth, you'd find everything from that's loaded. Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons.
Thank you for buying our records.
To Alison Krauss, Sade, Anita Baker, Toni Braxton, and I think maybe Tammy Wynette's in there. So there's such an array of a big spectrum of what I listen to that moves me. And those are the kind of songs I look for when I'm going in to record a song.
Since we're releasing the DVD and CD as The Color of Roses, what made you pick that song? What is it about the song that you really like?
My manager, Bert Stein, pitched me that song. I guess it was about a year ago, maybe a year ago. Maybe not quite, but somewhere around there. And for some reason, we didn't get to put it on my last album. And I loved the song. I loved it from the first moment I heard the song. Melody-wise, lyric-wise, it meant so much to me. As a matter of fact, even when I knew we weren't putting it on my last album, it was still in the CD player on my bus, and I would play it every night when I was getting ready to go on stage. And it's just one of those songs that, to me, is what a woman's life is about. It's what anybody's life is all about. Because it says such a line in there that's so true about only the ones who believe ever see what they dream. And if you don't dream in what you believe in, you never see them come true. And there's been so many things I've dreamed about, and I've believed in them, and I have watched them come alive for me. And Beth Nielsen Chapman wrote the song, and to me it's just one of those once-in-a-lifetime kind of something in red kind of songs that somehow or another it's so good that people are almost afraid of it, like Something in Red was, because they think it may be too deep for people. You know, well, a lot of record labels and executives, they don't give the public enough credit to as being deep. And this song is deep, and it's meaningful, and it's poetry. It's modern day poetry.
Well, when you walked into the studio and sang it for the first time, one of the things that I really enjoyed was the passion that you brought to the performance and the way you read the lyric. You really had a believability about what you were singing about. And even though you were singing the song basically for the first and second time, I marveled at the feeling that you were able to project just from singing a song once or twice. And I want to tell you, I really got a great feeling from it. I know that anybody who hears the record is really going to love it.
I certainly hope so.
And I want to ask you a couple of more things about that type of a record. Now, Something in Red was done with a mini symphony orchestra. And Color of Roses has a mini symphony orchestra. It's an orchestrated record. It has a lot of strings, a lot of cellos, which you requested.
Love cellos.
And it has French horns and flutes. Recording with an orchestra, what does that really mean to you? I mean, do you enjoy doing things with an orchestra? Do you like the feeling that the orchestra gives you?
I love it. It's like this swelling sensation inside of my soul that is different from the other music that I sing, which doesn't make it better or worse. It just is, it's different. And I think there are no limits in entertainment business. You know, when someone says, well, you're country, what are you singing that stuff for? I don't think there's any limitations to show business. It's like telling somebody who, telling Liz Taylor years ago because she cut or filmed National Velvet that, no, that's not the image we have. You can't do Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. There should be no boundaries. And the orchestra, to me, is just another level of entertainment for me. And I think in order for an artist to be happy and be able to really be into what they're doing, you have to be able to express yourself, and you have to be able to explore new venues and new avenues of music. And that's what the symphony does for me. It just elates me. It just moves me to almost a fantasy Cinderella world where everything in life is still good, and I'm back in that era that I should have been in.
If you had the opportunity to turn the clock back and start your career all over again, and if you didn't grow up in an atmosphere where your father was in a country business, what's your favorite style of music that maybe you would have liked to have started, if it was any kind of music at all?
Well, first off, I was born in the wrong era, because I wish I could have been singing and been in those nightclubs in Chicago and New York and the long gowns and singing the Billie Holiday songs and, you know, Good Morning Heartache and those smoky lounge songs that where the dress fit the music and the whole atmosphere was just so elegant and romantic, and music was so exciting and moving. I was born in the wrong era. I'm telling you, I needed to be born back then, because if I weren't in this day and time in country music, that would have been where I would have wanted to be.
Let me ask you a musical question. How did you learn to backphrase the way you backphrase?
You've said that to me before. I don't understand what you mean.
When you're
a little behind the beat.
You sing behind the beat, but I notice when you sing the sort of standard kind of songs, you bring a different kind of approach to it than you sing country music. And it's reminiscent of the period that you're talking about. And I was wondering how you learned that. Is that something that you listened to as a kid? Because you do it instinctively so well.
I guess I just I've listened to that music all my life, and I guess it's just a natural thing for me. I don't really understand what you're trying, what it is you're trying to figure out how I do it, because I don't know what it is.
When you sing the lyric, in order for you to make the lyric come to life, sometimes you can't sing the melody the way the melody was written. You'll hold notes longer. You'll place them differently in the phrase. Instead of singing them where they're supposed to be sung, you'll wait an extra couple of beats, and it adds a certain emotion to the song. It adds a personality. And when you add the personality, the song becomes yours. And just, you know, sometimes as I'm conducting and I listen to that, I say, how does she do that? That's really, really great.
I suppose it's just a feel thing. I mean, I guess it's the difference between just singing it and feeling it. And a lot of people can sing music, but you can tell if they're really feeling it.
Lorrie, I know a lot of your fans would really like to know how you kick back when you're around the house. And while we were walking up the driveway this morning, I noticed that there were a couple of animals. How many dogs do you have?
Right now we have 4. We have Punky and Honey outside, and Bush, who is the one that stays at the farm, who's a German short-haired pointer. We have him, and then we have Feeny, who's down here sleeping. Feeny is the baby right now. She's about 4 months old. She's my new Chihuahua.
Yeah, can we wake her up for a minute?
Oh, yeah, she would love to. Matter of fact, she was prepared for camera today. We polished Feeny's fingernails, and she's a glam queen, too. Glam queen. Good girl.
Do you ever get a chance to go to the movies, to go out in public and just hang out?
I love to go to movies. I love movies. And Sammy, I've just really started getting him into really watching a movie and really paying attention to, because Sammy, if something doesn't blow up in the first 2 minutes, he starts to do this. But now he's gotten to where he'll give it, you know, a little while. But I love to go to the movies and get the popcorn and the, you know, my junior mints and stuff like that. But I love watching TV here at home. Matter of fact, AMC is one of my favorite channels. The old black and white movies, and yeah, I go out to eat a lot. And
you and Sammy own a chicken restaurant.
Yes, we do.
And tell us a little bit about how you decided to get involved in that.
Well, I've always wanted to own a restaurant, and so has Sammy, but we never really knew that until we, you know, got to know each other better. Ever since we were little, we've been eating this hot, spicy chicken, and I'm talking about me and my brother and my sisters, my mom, my dad. Years ago, Dad was introduced to this hot chicken downtown. Well, he got the recipe and he started making it at home. So I started thinking, someday I'm going to open up a restaurant with this and serve this hot chicken. And Sammy and I just finally one day said, we're going to do it. You know, hit or miss, we're going to do it. And we opened up this restaurant in Whites Creek, Tennessee. It's called hotchickens.com. And it's all fried chicken. Plus we've got Cajun shrimp po' boys on the menu, and potato salad and baked beans and fried corn on the cob and fried pickles and French fries. It's just a real casual place, but it's all fried chicken, and it's you can get it plain, mild, medium, hot, extra hot, or atomic bomb.
Let me ask you, did you ever go there and work?
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, the first couple weeks we were open, we never left the restaurant. Sammy and I were on what we called the assembly line in the back. We would fry, then we'd prepare the chicken, and we'd wrap it up. And the first couple weeks we were so slammed, and we didn't really have all of our staff in place. So we really had to work hard. And my fingernails, you know, we put pickle on top of the chicken, and my fingernails actually were stained a bright green yellow from dipping so much into the pickle jars. I had to Clorox my nails to get the stain off of them. I said, you know, I don't know if this is the glamorous life I've been looking for or not. But now our staff is all in place, and every now and then when we go in, we might want to go back in the kitchen and prepare something for somebody who's come in and thinks that we can't make anything hot enough for them.
Yeah.
Trust me, we can.
When it's 3 o'clock in the morning and Lorrie wakes up and she feels hungry and she comes down to the kitchen, what's Lorrie's favorite snack?
Well, I love cereal. I'm a Lucky Charm freak. I love Lucky Charms, and I love the marshmallows in Lucky Charms. So normally it's a bowl of cereal. And I'm not a big sweet eater, so that's very rare for me to be really wanting something sweet, but the only time I really want something sweet is in the middle of the night, and I come get my Lucky Charms or Sugar Smacks. Sugar Smacks are awesome.
I know that for as many years as I've known you, you keep yourself in pretty good shape. How do you keep yourself so thin?
Nerves. No, you know, in the summer, I'm a big swimmer. I love to swim. But unfortunately, in the wintertime, I'm, how do you say? I kind of hibernate and don't really do much in the wintertime. But I have a 4-story house here, and so my exercise is up and down on these floors all the time.
Lorrie, how does it feel to go through life as a sex symbol or a...
That's really a tough question, because it's, you know, it's hard to look at myself and go, I am such a sex symbol. I mean, I don't visualize myself that way.
Well, how do you visualize yourself?
I visualize myself at, not the glamour part, yes. I love glamour. I love, you know, everything from the long gloves to the charmeuse gowns to boas, diamonds, you know, whatever it may be. I love that. And there's other days when, you know, I want to have on my cut-off jean shorts and a Chicago Bulls T-shirt and just be one of the kids, you know. But it's flattering. I mean, it's flattering when people say the things that they do, the nice things that they do. But that's really not how I vision myself.
I know that we've just done a photo shoot, and the photographs are all glamorous. When you know that you're going to do a photo shoot, how do you want to be shot? Do you want to be shot when you're thinking of your own image? Do you want to be shot as a glamorous person or as a sexy person?
Well, I think that you can combine the two, and I think glamour can be sexy, but then you have that line where you cross over and it's kind of cheap looking, and that's the line I don't want to go to. But I think you can be sexy and glamorous even if you're not in an evening gown. You can still have that glamour sexy look if you're in blue jean shorts. So, and I think that's the thing that I always want to capture in photo shoots, is that there's that fine line between a little girl and a movie star, and that is something that I think is hard to find.
What are your goals for your career for the next 10 years?
Well, my goals are to again be able to go to other levels. I'd love to do more symphony things. I would. I want to even direct videos. I would like to do makeup for videos. I'd like to be the makeup artist that does it for other people, because I know how important it is for an artist to feel good when they go in front of a camera, and there's nothing worse than having a bad makeup person do your makeup and you know you've got to go on camera. I also am interested in producing. There's things I've learned over this course of these years in this business that I know how to do things, and I know how to do them right. And, you know, I want another platinum album. I want some more awards.
Thank you very much, Lorrie.
Thank you.